Okay, we're going to start our FastAPI Flet application. I'm going to create a new project with Python 3.13. I'm using UV. I'm going to call the project I'm going to add, the Flet is on 0.80 now, but it's in beta. So we can simply add Flet all, and this will install the newest version of Flet, including the beta version. I'm going to use httpx for the API access and uvicorn. Making a server-based architecture, so I'll make the different folders: API, services, UI, and docs. Then in each of the folders, I'm going to create a init file. The current file structure here, I'm going to open it up and we're going to start working on the API first. I'm going to create a file in here called routes.py. We'll first import FastAPI, import API router. So we'll create the first endpoint, which is the API hello. We'll create a asynchronous function called hello, and it will return message hello from FastAPI server. Okay, we now have our API endpoint. We're going to create a services layer for our business logic. We'll call it APIClient.py. We're going to import httpx. That's how we access the FastAPI backend. To set up the base URL, in our case, the base URL is always going to be localhost since we are using it locally. We'll return a string. We're going to use the Python context manager async with, which is the keyword, and we'll use httpx with the async client, not the standard client. As is a keyword from Python. Client is the handle that we'll use. We'll grab the response. It'll be async await. We use the client to get the right. So we got our response, and we could instantiate the API client with a different URL if we were to deploy it. Okay, so this response.json, it converts it to JSON, and we know the message because we just set it up here. This message is the same as this. So it's going to grab the message and as the key, and this will be the value. Hello from FastAPI server. We'll go into the UI. We'll create a new file called components.py. We're going to use Flet for the UI, and we will grab our handler that we just created. Oh, I didn't create the handler yet. Create the handler first. We'll go handlers. Need to import Flet for the handler as FP. We just created the services API client right here. And in here, there is the API client that we just created. Create our button click handler. We have the event control event. Right. So we established this already in the API client, the get hello message right there. Print out the message. If it doesn't work, we'll add the error e.page add as a piece of text on the screen. Use an F string. And be fancy, we'll make the color red. Okay, we don't need this import here. Okay, let's look into the main, and we'll use this to glue everything together. So from context lib, import the asynchronous context manager. This is from Python. So Flet has a FastAPI in it. So this Flet.FastAPI will be used to mount the Flet application as a FastAPI application. And we'll just call it Flet_FastAPI. Import the router. UI components. See, now that we have the handlers, we can build out the component. So we'll first create the header. Text, return text. And then we'll create the data button. And I have it in separate components or functions here, just to show that it can be more scalable. You have just a single component that you're returning, so you don't actually need to do it at this level. Okay, we've got our button click handler here, and the final build main create the header. So obviously, you don't need these functions. You could just put it as page.add and just have this one thing here. I'm doing it this way so to illustrate that you could make this section up here much more complex and then start adding the components in for the sections of your layout here in the build main view function. Okay, now that we have the code to build the main, we can go back to main.py, and now we can import it. Build main view. Instantiate FastAPI as API, and we'll use the FastAPI include to include the router that we created right in the routes. We have the router there. That's how we're connecting this FastAPI piece of code to the router. So we can run some code before main is run. we won't have any code right now. And now our main function will be build main view that we created. We have to pass it the page, and we need the page here. This will be asynchronous. We have our async context manager. Async. It's from the context lib up here. And we'll create a function called lifespan. And it will receive something, but we're not going to use it here. Oh wait, FastAPI.app manager, which is built into the Flet FastAPI. We'll just start it. We'll yield separated from shutdown. This FastAPI manager shutdown. Then we'll set the router. Lifespan context will be lifespan. So we'll mount it on the default, the main endpoint. It will test our app using the cursor browser tab. So we'll run it, uvicorn main app, reload. I'll do control click, have it set up to open up in the cursor browser tab. This is our Flet application here and our FastAPI server application. Well, congratulations, you have a highly scalable framework to use a FastAPI application using Flet as the front end. I'm going to put the finished code, the tutorial, and the slides in this site here, industry-python.thinkific.com. It's completely free. You go to your free course, then you would click enroll now, which is completely free. There's no large number of courses here. I'll put this course at the bottom after chapter 11, chapter 10. These courses will be chapter 11. So I'll zip up the code and I'll put some of the other, so this README document here. And there's a written tutorial you can follow as well if you prefer written tutorials. Then I have the slides that I used in the lecture, which is in this format. But if you open it up with MARP, you'll be able to see the MARP formatting. So in addition to this format for the slides, I also put the PDF up. Might be easier to read for you to go through the different sections. So go ahead and check out industry-python.thinkific.com.